Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey My Mother's Son podcast. Today I'm joined with some old friends that were on the show, probably 2 years ago now. Cody and Brittany Holifield. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Doing great.
Love having you back on.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
a lot of things have changed in your world since the last time we talked. You guys at that time were Hitch to Hitch on
Hmm.
YouTube and Instagram and all that sort of stuff. Um, that's changing, and we'll talk about that as we go on. But before we get started with the conversation, just kind of, you know, introduce yourself in your own words. Who are Cody and Brittany today? Because I think that's even a little different than who you guys were when we talked, two and a half
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah. We are tired.
Yeah, yeah.
We are busy. We are tired. There's so much change going on with us right now. Big dreams, and trying to accomplish them, and a lot of preparing for our future and for our kids' future right now. I think the last time we talked, it was a lot of fun and adventure. And now it is kind of changed into now we're ready to share that adventure with others.
Yeah.
And we actually just hit 5 years this month in a RV.
Yeah.
So we've actually been living in an RV for 5 years. We're still in one currently, but possibly not for much longer.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that, possibly not for much longer. What's going on with Hitch to Hitch?
Okay, well, Hitch to Hitch is changing, and it is going to become Halls Top Hangout, which is a adventure base camp that we are building in East Tennessee. And fun tip, I love that we stayed with our HTH. So that was fun.
Yep.
Nice marketing there.
Yes.
Yep. So basically we had an idea that through traveling and our staying in plenty of RV parks and off-grid places and boondocking and just rest areas, wherever it was that we stayed, we had bright ideas that we actually wanted to build an RV park. So we set out looking for property, probably not long after we saw you, probably 2 years ago, we actually got serious about it. And we found through our travels that we really like the North Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina area.
Weather's a big factor there for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can't handle snow
That's
too
as far
much. So
as it's happening.
yeah. Now we do get some here, but not much.
Right.
So we kind of set out with that goal in mind to find property to build a massive RV park. And we looked at some investors and stuff like that, and it just nothing seemed to pan out correctly. So we just kind of started looking at property on our own, and we ran across a few pieces here in East Tennessee, and we went and looked at all of them in one day and was like, none of them would fit an RV park. It's just too mountainous and things like that. So we kind of left disappointed that day and went home, and about 11 o'clock at night, right before we went to bed, I said, do you know what we could actually do with one of these pieces of property outside of an RV park? And we got the bright idea to do cabins.
He got the idea. I still thought he was crazy, just like moving into an RV.
Yeah.
It's a trend here.
Yep. So basically I kind of painted a picture in her head for what I thought would be a really cool idea. And we called the real estate agent the next day, and she actually said that she talked to the owner of the property that afternoon after we had looked at it. And he said if we wanted to come back out and see it, he would come out and show us every inch of it. And it was 37 acres at the time. We came back out, walked, I don't know what, 2-3 miles with him at least through these mountainous hills up here. Some of it straight up and down pretty much.
Yeah.
So it was pretty eventful day. And then we decided that it would be a perfect fit for some cabins.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do something kind of like Gatlinburg cabins, but a little different to where it's still family atmosphere, but some couples and something similar to that is what we were thinking. And we were kind of thinking about doing some bigger ones at first.
Yeah.
Well, after we got the offer accepted on the property, You want to tell them about that part?
Okay. We found out that the county was getting a very large grant to bring in the nation's largest mountain biking trails. And it would be at our back door, like the property of the National Forest and our property are touching.
Wow.
And so it was like, well,
Yeah.
this plan just keeps evolving and keeps changing and we're just rolling with it. So it went from like 3 big cabins to maybe, generate some income for us to we could do something so much bigger.
Right.
And we'd be here a lot longer doing it. But so it grew to, instead of 3 cabins to possibly 40 to 50 cabins and having all these different types of camping experiences with cabins and tent camping and glamping and tree houses and all these different concepts all on one property.
Yeah.
So we found on this piece of property that we initially purchased, it was just over 37 acres. There's about 4 to 5 natural springs coming out on the property. It all it slopes in 2 directions. It slopes down about 300 feet from one end to the other, and it slopes down with ways, probably about 250 feet. And it's almost in the shape of a rectangle. And with the way the water flows, we can do different things. And there used to be a pond, and funny story, our neighbor across the street actually grew up on this piece of property. We bought it from his uncle.
Yeah.
So he was telling me about an old pond that used to be at the bottom of the property where he used to go fishing in. So we decided that was one thing we're going to bring back. We're in the process of doing that. We're going to add a second pond up higher for water to kind of pool up. And it's like Brittany said, I mean, it's just evolved every day. We kind of change a little bit here, add a little bit there, or take away. But basically the bike trails are going to bring in, they're hoping 89 to 110 miles is what they're saying.
Wow.
That should go out for bid roughly the end of the year. So we should start seeing that here pretty soon. So we decided to do more of a bike in, bike out for individuals or couples and start that off first.
Yeah. So the theme has gone from that whole large cabin to we've completely transferred over to off-grid, back to nature. There's no internet here. There's no phone service. We're not even trying to bring that like we would if we had big cabins. You would have to have that with TVs and all this stuff. It's none of that. It's a completely unplug and get away kind of getaway.
Yeah. I love that. And so right now you guys are starting off with how many cabins again?
5.
All right. And what's amazing to me is like you guys are doing the work. Like
All of it.
you're not bringing a contractor in and just cutting the check. Like you're out there lugging it all around.
Yes.
And outside of the cabins, you're also converting these shipping containers, which you guys are actually sitting in one as we speak, which I believe is going to be the store, right?
Correct. It's gonna be our outpost store.
Where did that idea come from? Because it's funny, you see this quite a bit. Even that we were just down in Galveston not too long ago, and we're driving by some, shipping containers that were being turned into something. So tell me how this came about.
That's me. It's Lamb.
So my envision to start with was basically 6 shipping containers, 2 wide, 3 long, put them end to end. And then on the back row, go 2 high with them and put rentals up top, open up some of the ones on the bottom to each other, and then use one of them as like storage kind of area. We found out shipping containers are way more expensive than they used to be. So we kind of
like everything else in the world.
With the general idea that we were going with them first because they were cheaper then, because everything had gone up.
Yeah.
The cost of lumber and everything else. We're like, shipping containers will be the form's already there. We just pop them in and easy.
Yep.
Wrong in so many ways.
Yeah. So I knew shipping containers weighed a pretty good penny, but they were a lot heavier and a lot stronger than I anticipated personally.
Yeah.
And having worked working on the river and dealing with barges and lots of steel stuff and things like that, I was like, oh, I can make this work, and this property has proven in every aspect to take 5 times longer and be 10 times harder than
It's different than the land
Yeah.
we were used to.
So-
It is rocky, it is
Yeah.
mountainous, and it's adapting
So
for sure.
that started out with, okay, let's dig into the hill a little bit. So I rented a skid steer, and that turned out I didn't rent a big enough one because it couldn't move most of the dirt and rocks that I needed to. So that was a whole ordeal in itself. But we started out, we ordered 5 shipping containers and had them all delivered. We got 3 the first day and 2 this following day, and got them all placed and everything. And then when we got to thinking about how we were going to double stack them, I realized I was going to need either a crane or a massive excavator to do it because the original plan wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, let's kind of reroute here. And we ended up deciding to just basically build rentals on top of the shipping containers.
Yeah.
So that's going to be our second phase, but it's basically, when it's said and done, we're going to look like an old Western town.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Yeah,
the
because
shipping,
the store right now is covered in
Yeah.
old barn
So-
wood from a barn that's on our property.
let's see if we can show a little bit.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very
So
cool.
we basically, we set the shipping containers where we had 3 long in the end, and then we put 2 in front and left a gap on one end. So the shipping containers are 40-foot long and about 9-foot wide each one.
And we cut out the middle of the
Mhm.
4 and join them together, so it's a large open space.
Yeah. So the inside the store total, including the office space, is 80 foot by 16 foot is the actual inside dimensions. And then we added an 8-foot porch on the front, which gave us 120-foot long porch, where 80 feet of it is 8 foot wide and 40 foot of it is 16 foot wide. So it's a massive porch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hence the hangout part of the name.
Yeah.
We're having lots of decks in different places throughout the property for hangout purposes.
Yeah. It's very cool. Very cool.
The goal is to come back to, being
Having
able to hang
conversation
out
with
and-
people.
Yeah, sitting around and
Yeah.
enjoying it with other people.
Yeah. I love that. And the cabins themselves are, basically A-frames for,
Yeah.
lack of a
Mhm.
better term.
Right.
And you got 5 of them there right now. How many people can each of those cabins sleep?
They're made for 2. If it's a case where someone has a child and it's just one child, we can make changes for that kind of situation. It's not a big deal. But it's really made for a couple.
Cool. So you'll have the bike trails that are being put in by through the grant and everything. Are you guys looking to do any type of like hiking trails or anything like that on your property specifically, or are you just going to kind of piggyback off of whatever comes in on the bike trails?
Yes, we want to put a hiking trail that goes along the creek and runs through the property to be a waterside hiking trail. But we are half a mile from the National Forest, and so everything is right there in walking distance as well.
Okay. Cool. So will you guys have a trail that'll connect right down into the National Forest, or aren't you allowed to do that with it being a National Forest?
We're working on that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
There are trails that are already existing all throughout that people have just made over the years, between people that ride dirt bikes and people that hike. And there's actually spots through the National Forest where there used to be old homesteads and things of that nature.
Okay.
They've kind of disappeared here and there throughout the years because of forest fires and stuff. But basically, you can kind of hike just about anywhere you want to go for the most part. But we do have an old road through the property that we're connecting to different areas that hasn't been finished. And it'll give us some access in different areas where people can hike throughout the property, and they can just kind of go right into the National Forest.
Yeah.
the bike trails, as far as that goes, there is a trail that they're bringing down to where the entrance to the National Forest is. And it's exactly a half a mile from our driveway. Now, to give you perspective, we are the third to last person on this road before you go into the National Forest. There's only 4 other pieces of property past us.
Okay.
But basically there's only 2 people that live past us.
Yeah.
And it's not like your normal National Forest entrance. It's just an old steel gate that stays open.
Right. Gotcha. Very
But
cool.
other I guess activities in the National Forest is off-road trails. So all weekend it's Jeeps and trackers and side-by-sides. And so we're tapping into that because we're Jeepers as well. So we definitely want to have Jeep rides planned and accommodate, that. But we're also 5 miles from the whitewater rafting companies. There are 7 down the mountain. So
Very
that's
cool.
a huge thing during the summertime. So
And we're 45 minutes out of Gatlinburg. So actually one of the whitewater rafting places here is Ober. They own the whitewater rafting. They have their Ober Mountain and all of that stuff down in Gatlinburg. But
so it's all outdoor adventure stuff.
yeah.
So,
And they
Yeah.
actually call this the adventure side of the Smokies, where we are.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So when you guys first started kicking around, this new chapter and getting off the road, um, how did the kids react to it? Because I know I've had Barrett on the show, and he
yes.
he loved the full-time RV life. Corbin certainly seemed like he was enjoying it quite a bit. So what was their reaction when you guys were like, okay, we're gonna hop off the road for a little bit here?
I think that they were both excited about especially Barrett, becoming 15, 16, having a job, having a girlfriend or trying to have a girlfriend, all of those. You can't do those kind of things on the job. Get your driver's license. I mean, yeah, sorry, on the road. So he was looking forward to being able to do those kind of things that require you to stay still for a little bit.
Yeah.
Corbin, he's a little 50-50. He loves being on the road, but I think he was very excited about the idea of a big project because he is so hands-on and outdoorsy. Both of them at this point now wish we were back on the road because it would be a lot less work for them.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I'm
don't think
sure.
they realized what we were signing up for.
Yeah. Did you guys realize what you were signing up for?
No.
And and
Apparently,
Co
I'm making my ideas sound really good and good to start. There's not a whole lot of follow through, but it's
But
too late at that point. They're already
yeah.
done
to be fair, we are learning so much. I can now use almost any power tool, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
I know.
that is cool. And Cody, you're still on the boat while this is all happening, right? You're
Yep.
still
Yep.
there's a month where you're out on the boat and then
There's a month
another
where he's
month
working
where
and
you're
a month
just
where he's working. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. My
different kind of
barbecue
work.
is about 3 different ends right
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah. And I'm assuming that's going to be the plan moving forward, that you're going to stay on the boat as this
mhm.
project continues to move forward.
Yes.
Yep. So this is my retirement project is what we're kind of calling it. We're hoping at some point in the future it takes over what I actually make, and then I can put my 40 hours a week per se into this to get it knocked out. And long-term goal, we want to find a couple that can come in and run the place for us and basically oversee everything for 6 to 9 months a year and let us go back traveling so we can find where we want to do our next project. And then we'll come back and give them a 3 month vacation a year, something in that aspect is what we're hoping to do.
Yeah.
Because we do have other big ambitions, I guess you could say, after this, because we didn't get to do the RV park we originally set out to do, and that's something we still want to do.
Yeah. I love it. Absolutely love it. So I'm assuming with where you're at in the country that the place will be open year round.
Yes.
So that's our goal. They do shut down the whitewater rafting for about 3 to 4 months a year. Most of the RV parks that's close by shut down for about 3 months. Some cabins stay open, some close. We're in an area where we're at about 2,300 feet of elevation, so it gets cold up here.
Yes.
You get a little more snow than you would down in town and stuff like that, but it's still pretty accessible. And outside of, your major storms or something like that, it's pretty easy to get in and out with a single vehicle, or, if you have 4-wheel drive, you got access no matter what.
We'd
Right.
still love to be able to be open for those people who want to get away and just be like in the snow,
Yeah.
just to see the snow and be in the snow, even if it's for a night or two. If that's all I want is a night or two in the snow, but I got more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, for the boys, you guys had some snow a little while ago. Was that their first snow? You guys are originally from Mississippi, so was that their first snow, or was this not their first snow?
Not their first snow, but the first snow was while we were on the road RVing.
Okay.
So this was their first time sledding. We went straight to the store and bought sleds.
There you go.
In love. It was their first time snowboarding.
Yep.
And they both love snowboarding. So they still had a lot of good experiences with this snow.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. So with the fact that you guys are doing, all of the work, that it
Yeah.
probably changes um your appreciation for the project a little bit more. I mean, like
Oh
it's
my goodness.
literally your baby. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I was just thinking the other day that you can never fully appreciate the words family-owned business or small-owned business until you go through this kind of experience. Before you read the words and you're like, cool, a family owns it, but you don't realize the blood, sweat, and tears literally that go into those kind of businesses. And this has been eye-opening for that for sure.
Yeah. And I got to imagine it's much more rewarding than had you guys purchased, an existing RV park or something like that, because literally everything that's going into that is your vision, your concept, and
Yes.
again, your blood, sweat, and tears. So, I mean, how
Yeah.
how rewarding is that, when you walk away and that first cabin is done, when the containers are set into place and, you're getting close to opening day. I mean, what does that feel like for you guys?
Ooh, I don't think we've sat back yet and actually got a chance to really feel that truthfully, because it's, we're down to the little knickknacks now, where it's finishing this little piece of trim or making sure we got a hook here, or,
Yeah.
those little things. So we haven't really been able to sit back and actually look at it, but we have kind of reflected here and there. And one of the things we realized the other day was
Yeah.
that with my schedule being month on, month off, we've actually owned the property about a year and a half, and we've done everything we've done in just under 6 months. I think this trip
Yeah.
home made 6 months.
When someone presented that to us, we were like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. But I will say, because of his schedule, we're not here all the time. So that day that we get back after being gone for the month and we pull up to the property and I look at, like, put my eyes on it again, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is ours. We did this. So I have that feeling. I know he's all stressed about everything, but every time we come back that first day, it's like, wow, I'm proud of us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
So
we definitely don't like to leave either.
Yeah. So during this construction process now, um, when Cody goes back out on the boat, so obviously you just said you guys aren't staying on site. So where are you and the boys going while he's on the boat?
In the beginning, he was driving us down to our home base in Mississippi, a 10-hour drive every time, which took time away on the time that he was home, but it also just added more driving time and more stress. So
And,
February,
and fuel costs being so high was not fun either.
Yeah.
February this year, we decided to stay in a campground here in Greenville, which was Mammoth Ridge RV Park, which was a great campground. We loved our stay there. We're actually going to head back there tomorrow to spend our next month there as well.
Yeah.
Until we get things settled here where we can stay here.
Yeah. So we'll be on site permanently actually right before we open.
Yeah.
For good. Actually open. We'll be on site permanently. We're just still in the process of doing that. And it's just better to have them in an RV park one more month, just, to make sure we've got everything right.
Right.
We finally just got our water going and some other things. And, with me being gone, if there's a leak or something like that, it's better, for them to be in an RV park and let me deal with that, when we kick it back on, when I get back, and
Right.
be able to be here and watch it every day for a little while to make sure we get all of the little quirks out,
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's always going to be those little quirks for
Oh, yeah.
a little while yet.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We turned on the water the other day, and one of the fittings I put in apparently just decided to spray everywhere. So we had to dig it back out, and
Yep.
that was fun. So it's been
It's gonna happen.
yeah, I've had a black cloud over my head for a couple months now for some reason. It's like everything's breaking, and I'm having to stop what I'm doing to fix that in order to be able to use it again. So it's been,
Challenging.
yes, very challenging.
Yeah. But all worth it in the long run, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Love it.
But the
I
kids
love
are
it.
taking to it pretty good. One of the things I think is the hardest for them is the fact that we're not close to family anymore. So family has to come up and visit, or they go down and visit. And, the older they get, the harder that is.
Right.
So,
But I'm working really hard on integrating into the local homeschool community. So they're finally going to get that steady, seeing the same people and getting involved in the area here. So
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Is there anything that we've missed in the conversation that you think would be important for the listeners to know?
So, we've got some recent news that just actually happened this past weekend that we're gonna go ahead and announce. We're gonna start putting some videos up about it here soon, but we can go ahead and announce it on here. We actually are partnering with Future Solutions, who is out of Elkhart, Indiana. And they mainly deal with RVs. They're the ones that put the battery systems and all of that stuff in the solar systems in KYD's all of their rigs. That's the company that has
Okay.
done that. That's mainly what they deal with. But we've partnered with them to power all of our cabins, our store. They're going to be our main source of solar and battery power for
Very
everything.
cool.
Yeah.
That's
We've
very cool.
started testing out the battery packs that we're going to use in the cabins and all of that. So the cabins will be ran with battery packs. The bathhouse will be ran with battery packs. And then the store, we're going to build
battery
we're
bank.
just going to call it a massive solar system with a battery bank that's going to power everything. Our
Wow.
drink coolers down to the light bulbs.
Wow. That is awesome. So
So
it is truly off grid.
yes,
That,
yes.
yep.
So
That's the plan.
we actually do not have any grid power whatsoever on this piece of property. We do have another piece across the street that we purchased that the only grid power is that runs the well, and that's the only thing.
Yep.
And the reason we did that is because of the way the well is set up higher than everything else, and we're going to gravity feed tanks down to everything. So we kind of needed to set that up on a little more of a steady power source to keep
Right.
that well from, having any issues, but it will be on a battery backup.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So when you guys are open, um, are you actually building a residence there for yourselves as well?
Yes.
That you're not going to be in one of the cabins.
Well, so,
Yes and no.
so
We're building the first family cabin currently that is not included in one of the 5 A-frames that are almost complete. We're going to live in it until we get our private residence, I guess, on the other side of the property done.
Okay.
It's going to transition to the first family cabin. We need to do that because the bigger place that we want on the other side of the property is going to take a lot more time to get utilities and things over there.
Right.
So we have a semi residence coming soon. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
we're basically going to use it for, our goal is about 6 months, to basically sell the camper and get it going and get the slab and the building up. We're going to do a barn dominium on the other side for us to where we can house all of our equipment for the campground and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's a process, very long
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. And that also gives you a little bit of a separation from
Yes.
being
Yes.
on property 24/7 and, you know, people are staying there. It gives you that little bit of getaway time,
Yeah.
which I think is a great idea and will probably keep your stress level down as the
I
project.
hope so. I hope so.
Yep.
So, where can people find out more about this? Is there going to be an online booking system? We're changing from Hitch to Hitch. I'm assuming, going to be a new website address. I mean, tell me, you know, tell the
Okay, so
listeners
right
where they
now,
can find you
everything is
guys.
on Hitch to Hitch on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube because we haven't made that switch yet. That switch is coming, or I guess by the time this video is released, it's already happened. It's all going to change over to Halls Top Hangout. We just finished interviewing all of the software management companies, and so we have made our decision and we've signed our contracts so that by the time this video is out, I guess we'll be up and running.
Yeah.
So we don't have the URL or anything for that ready because we are starting the build process, but we will have a website that you will be booking through.
So all the reservations will be able to be made online. They're not going to have to call you in, you know, figure out
Correct.
what's available and all that sort of stuff.
Right, because of phone service.
Right. They could call, but you may not
They
answer.
can call. We're busy, sorry.
Yeah, I love it.
We started testing out our logo on a few things. None of them really came out great on the first try, but this is the basics of one of our logos.
That's cool.
So that's kind of what we're going for, but we got it to come out a lot better on our
Outdoor tables that
we'll call it that. So we've got 5 A-frame cabins. We put 3 different areas where you can barbecue at by the cabins. And we've used wood on the property, some petrified trees, and just some other ones that have fallen down to basically make a table and chairs out of with slabs of wood. And we've burnt our logo into them and epoxied them and everything to be used. If you can picture it, the cabins have boardwalks connecting all of them, which kind of gives you the look like a
like a little village.
Yeah, like a village or the villas down in like Bora Bora or something like that are over the water. It kind of looks similar to that. So it's pretty neat.
We
But
have private bathhouses.
yeah.
We will have a hiking trail up and going for when we open. And I think that's
So
yeah.
ultimate goal at this point is to have the 5 A-frames. We'll have just some random different styles throughout the property. We'll have the store. We'll have the rentals above the store, which will be a couple family cabins, a couple other smaller cabins for couples or 2 people that you got 2 people that want to come biking together or whatever and split a cabin. We'll have 2 single beds in there and a couple of them. We're planning to put some tree houses down through the valley where the water runs through.
That's
with
cool.
rope bridges.
Yeah, we're gonna do a rope bridge to where the stairs comes up. You can cross the rope bridge to get to the actual cabin. Something similar to that. It all depends on how it all works out because each one's gonna be different. And then a couple big family cabins on top of the hills when it's said and done. And then we're gonna do 3 separate wedding spots for anyone that would like to come out and get married. They're all going to be fairly small, anywhere from 10 person to probably about a 40-person spot.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the main goals.
Yeah.
One of my dreams, which we'll see if it comes true or not, is we've been towing this Jeep around with us and trail riding with it and everything. And I've realized that the Pink Jeep tours out of Gatlinburg, which is only 45 minutes from us, they stay on pavement and people pay to go ride that and see the views and things like that. We've gone trail riding through the National Forest behind us, and there's actually a loop that we've done that's about 2 hours long and has some amazing views and some deep mud to play through. And I ideally would like to set up the Jeep to where we can take people on tours to do that.
Yeah.
Where
That'd
if
be
you want
cool.
to come and stay, or you just wanted to go mud riding and see some awesome views, that's something that I would love to be able to do.
Yeah.
But that's an
That's very
add-on
cool.
possibly in the future. We'll see. Insurance may not be very happy about that, but we'll see. So,
I love it, man. It sounds like it's just going to be an amazing piece of property when it's done. It sounds like, I mean, watching the videos and what you guys are doing, I mean, it's already well on its way to being amazing. And
Thank you.
I mean, I really wish you guys the best of luck as it you know, progresses here. It's going to be very, very cool. So,
thank you.
as we wrap up here, you know, I know I asked you guys this on our first show that we were together, but again, it's just the staple of the show to always ask my guests the same final question. And as you guys know, the subtitle of the podcast is Many Little People in Many Little Places, which comes from the opening lyrics of a Michael Franti song, Gloria, which go, when many little people in many little places do many little things and the whole world changes. So it's one of the little things that you guys are doing on a daily basis to make the world a little bit better place.
I think I remember my answer the first time. It was about how we're raising our children. But I think that this time I'm going to go with the what we are bringing to the world at this point, with all of these changes in the world, with technology and with lack of face-to-face communication. I think that we are trying to change the world and bringing back the old school experience of coming together, having community, getting out into nature, and being able to just hang out.
Yeah, I love it. Cody?
I mean, that's pretty much the same exact thing that came to mind when you asked the question was, I mean, we're trying to build a place where it kind of gives people a little throwback to the way it used to be versus, being stuck in an office or in front of the computer or checking emails every 2 seconds throughout the day, or for some reason you picking up your phone and scrolling through Facebook, because we're all guilty of it. I mean, you pick it up and you're scrolling through it and then you realize, what am I doing? And you're setting it back down, so I really believe that areas like this where there's no phone service and you can get back to nature and enjoy it is something that
everybody needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I just want to add one other thing that kind of falls into that, but we're an hour from Ashville, North Carolina, and an hour from Knoxville, Tennessee. And that's one of the things is that we hope to attract people that are live in the cities and actually have a hectic lifestyle to where they can just come out here and enjoy the peace of quiet. And, I think bringing that to the world will help out a lot more than, another RV park right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Get them sitting around the campfire and talking
Yeah.
to each other.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I love it. I love it. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time. And I know you guys have a ton on your plate with everything you're doing. So to carve out some time and have a chat with me, it's very much appreciated. For folks out there listening, be sure to check out my other podcasts and blogs at journeymymotherson.com. While you're there, pick up a copy of one of my books. Cody, Brittany, again, I really appreciate this. I wish you the best of luck, and thanks so much for having another conversation with me.
We had a blast, and we can't wait for you to come out and come see what we're doing.
Absolutely. We will be there.
All righty.
Awesome.
See you soon.
All right.